All right, wonderful. Dickheads, welcome back to Practicing Portraits, an artwod roadmap, right? The artwod cannot speak, portrait roadmap, right? What are we doing? We're practicing the artwod portrait roadmap. What do I require of you? I cannot speak. Require of you? Please just draw along. Fucking hell. Put me on the background, give me that retention. If you're wondering who I am, I'm Viggy. In 3 years and 2 months, I've been able to accomplish this level of drawing skill purely by practicing artwod. Link in description. There are exercises from the beginner roadmap and so on. Everything's documented on my channel. Click on my channel, go to oldest, you'll see everything that I've done, right? Blah 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 bullshit. If I can draw, you can draw. Get your fucking pen out, get your paper out, and practice portraiture with me. What are we doing? We're doing the exercise where you look at a portrait, which I have on my iPad on the left, i.e. a face, and I encompass it inside a box. I don't know which rep this is. I think this is rep number 28. Yeah, no wait, this is rep number 29. Yeah. By reps, I'm doing the 50 rep rule, which I've established for myself in the last few months, which is essentially in each exercise of the artwod portrait roadmap, do 50 reps, and if I understand the concept, I feel as if I've internalized it relatively well, I move on. We do not rush the reps. We spend as much time as necessary to do each rep, thinking as much as we can, because drawing is a thinking skill, right? Anyways, I'm looking at the reference right now. I'm trying to encompass it inside of a box. I'm trying to encompass a sphere inside that box. So it's a perfect cube in perspective, a perfect sphere inside that cube, and then center lines of that sphere, vertical and horizontal, inside the box. If that sounds extremely difficult, it is. It's 3 layers of projecting perspective, trying to visualize it in my mind or on the page or a combination of. Right, so with that being said, I'm going to start now. Please join me, right? Draw along. If you haven't drawn, let this video be a call to action to draw along, right? Watch me become great. Watch it become grating to your ear, more like, when you listen to my fucking voice. But either way, or hello, family. So let's let's get to it. Fucking, I'm so tired of doing that voice. I don't even know why I'm doing it. I honestly think I'm just used to just being like, haha, look at me. I can kind of do the Stitch voice. Anyways, so again, her face, the lady I'm looking at, her face, like if we're gonna encompass it into a box, pretty sure again it's at this angle, right? It's at this angle. It's definitely an upwards perspective, and this is great because I really do get to practice my perspective skills, right? And again, I'm trying to encompass this inside of a perfect sphere while I do this as well. I'm pretty sure, and if you're wondering how do you measure this, because I don't think I ever make it clear how I measure this. I'm using the eye line. I'm using the direction of the eye, like the way the eye is situated, and then I'm calculating that to the basically a bit past the middle point of the ear, right? And that seems to tell me decently what perspective the head is in. Is that a perfect representation? No, not until artwod specifically, like they literally teach me the way to calculate it. Right now, this is all based on my own observations in real life as well as from these pictures, right? This seems to be relatively accurate. I think it's not bad. Oh, and also like what we do is like I do this repetition, and then next to it, part of the same repetition, I wrap I create basically like a hard surface shape wrapped around either the sphere that is inside the box or just like hard surface shapes, like a mech helmet, because I'm really into mechs. I'm really into mechs. I fucking think drawing them is so cool, and I think the shapes, like I think mechs really can teach you really good shape design. And again, while I'm drawing, I'm thinking, and while I'm thinking, I'm drawing, right? While I'm talking, I'm also drawing and do this whole thinking endeavor, right? So let it be known, these are all skills. Every single thing that I'm doing, even making a straight line, while ensuring that it's clean, while ensuring that I can visualize where it's going, while also thinking about the vanishing point of these boxes, these are all skills, right? While also thinking about the sphere inside this box and the center lines inside the sphere inside the box, these are all skills. So if there's one thing I can encourage you, whether you stick around for this video or not, is to put as much effort into internalizing that everything you learn is a skill, right? Because if it wasn't a skill, you wouldn't be able to learn it, right? And to be more abstract, think about communicating. Like I'm communicating right now, right? I'm not the most skilled communicator. I can objectively understand that, right? My intonation has its issues. I use filler words like like all the fucking time, right? Let's go like example right there, right? I lose my train of thought while I'm drawing. That's a skill to practice in and of itself. How to not lose your train of thought while you're fucking trying to visualize the perspective, right? Because and drawing is all about perspective, right? You can go very far just understanding form and perspective, right? And I mean, and by very far I mean like you can literally min max Like, look what I'm doing right now. Like, I'm explaining that I'm literally trying to see 3 layers of perspective, right? And by the end of my lifetime, my goal is to hopefully see 10 layers of perspective, right? And calculate that while I'm drawing. And of course, much of that will be intuitive, but much of it will also be intentional because I like thinking as much as I can while I'm drawing. And that's why this is extremely difficult, right? That's why right now I'm struggling a fuck ton to hold that sphere inside the box, right? But I think this angle is a little bit better, for sure. Perhaps the sphere is not a perfect sphere because I could have definitely shortened this. But this box is a bit too small. I should definitely have drawn the box at least 20% larger, right? At least 20% larger. But either way, I'm very excited. Like, I'm slowly but surely, and I know I've been saying this, but I am slowly but surely getting better, right? And I'm slowly but surely getting better at constantly trying to put effort in. And that's also what I'm trying to focus on, is just trying to get better at putting effort in, because effort is really all I can control, right? And I'm just creating these eyebrow, like the features that I'm going to be placing are just going to be markers for my own sake when it comes to, let's see, yeah, when it comes to just understanding the form. I guess I'll practice. See, like, this is definitely much better because we don't see much of the other eye at all, right? Because this nose, this beautiful fucking nose, is blocking it. Good old perspectivized nose, right? Just little features here and there, you know. And her eyes are actually closed. Look, little eyelashes. There you go. Her eyes are actually closed, so maybe that helps put it into perspective as well, right? Do I actually know how to draw the lips? Well, I'm gonna have to really try to visualize this. And again, like, while I'm doing this, by the way, while I'm talking, while I'm doing this, because I keep looking at the reference, my ability to hold that sphere and to see the center lines, and I've been really unable to see the center lines as of late, but that's what we're working towards, right? Is like to constantly try to see them. So I just want to make it very clear that I keep losing this, and it's completely normal to keep losing the perspective. At least if you're average like me, it's completely normal. Right? Maybe if you're a faster learner, or your brain power capacity is just higher, right? Maybe then it's not as difficult for you to think about all these things at once. But for me, an average individual or subpar below average individual, it is very difficult to think about these things all at once, which is why I'm trying my best, and that's all I can do, right? Just try my best. But anyways, we've got the box down, so I definitely should have made that box a lot larger. If we compare to the last video where I made them, like, the boxes were much larger, right? But anyways, okay, so now I'm gonna rest my brain. Also, I'm gonna start employing the gap effect a lot more because I haven't been doing that enough. So I'm gonna rest my brain and encourage you to do so as well. Goodbye, I'll be back. For the auditorily disabled, I said goodbye, I'll be right back. But honestly, it's my fault because I'm the one using an accent when I speak. I wonder if you guys can hear me while I drink water. Right? How good are these is this microphone? That's a real question. We need to center the page. Jesus Christ, there you go. Okay, so now we're obviously going to really try it. Okay, first of all, we're gonna make the sphere a lot larger, right? We're gonna make the sphere a lot larger, and then now we're going to see I need to practice, like, constantly, and obviously I need to practice this at all times, but I'm genuinely going to consistently practice visualizing this box, the sphere inside the box, and the center lines inside the sphere inside the box, right? Because this is the minor axis, roughly. Right, this is the minor axis, so if this is our sphere, if this is just like the side plane, right, and this is just me explaining it to myself, that means the minor axis that I need to have is something that is curving and it's centered, so it's something like this. Right? So then that's like the entire sphere, let's say. I don't fucking know. So it has to be curved appropriately. We are seeing the bottom of it. That's a bad example. But I'm just trying to make it clear to myself. If I was trying to explain it to anybody who's listening or watching, I'd like to believe I'd make it a little bit better in terms of an explanation. But either way, right? We need to think about this. And okay, now, like, again, the big thing I was talking about yesterday, and what's been really helping me, is just thinking about things in terms of play. And I know I said I'd record soon after in yesterday's video, but I didn't. Like, yesterday, I just did that 1 hour. Today, it's the next day, right? We're gonna do 2 hours. We're gonna aim to do 2 hours because I don't have any other responsibilities left apart from drawing and piano and eating. and stretching, but apart from that. But anyways, my life itinerary aside, um, yeah, so because like I noticed my designs were getting really to my expectations, which was bad because we don't want to have expectations. It's like, but to my expectations, I didn't like them. So another reason I realized is like I just need to play, and like how do we play? I came across the conclusion that I just need to think, what would I find cool, right? Like what, like, because I'm gonna keep analyzing all the Pinterest designs and all that stuff and all the hard surface shit I've been seeing, but like what would I find cool? Right, like, and that question is what is helping me kind of really surface things, right? In terms of like, okay, well, it's not about what is cool, it's just about what you find cool. So what do I find cool? Like what kind of shapes can I think of in the sphere, right? That'd be like, okay, that's actually pretty fucking sick. And again, while I'm talking, I'm really trying to see the box. Like I'm genuinely really trying to see it, right? And the sphere that it's encompassing. That's the main thing right now, is like to consistently try to see those three layers of perspective. And then on top of that, we have to design, which is very difficult, right? Which is why I'm trying to think about large shapes that I think perhaps I would find cool, you know? But it's very difficult. Again, like looking at something and then designing it in my mind are two different things, right? So I'm trying to think, like I want to establish this front plane, even though it is going to be curved around a sphere or have its own manipulations, right? I want to establish this front plane as, and like the center line of that front plane as decently as possible, right? Because again, this is a larger sphere. We're not going to fit inside that box. We're going to fit inside a larger box to train my skill, right? So it needs to be something. We'll perhaps push it over. And again, like this is where all the thinking is going right now. This is literally where all the thinking is going. Just trying to maintain those three layers of perspective, right? Box, sphere inside the box, center lines inside the sphere inside the box, right? And now trying to think about like calculating angles and all that shit. But that just comes down to like, before I even calculate angles, I should think about kind of just what, and recall. Recall is a huge part of it. So I'm trying to recall like what are some interesting shapes that I've seen. Now, with that being said, I think I can start off with something like this, right? I think. I don't know yet, but I think I would find something like this to be generally cool, right? So let's see. And we got to get the perspective right, and we got to make sure that the sphere is also large enough. But more than anything, let's see. Right? Why don't we do something like this? I'm just trying to calculate right now, right? Like in terms of trying to make this all make sense, like a large shape, right? And again, like I need that center line to be proper. So this is actually where the center line is, right? And again, I got the angle wrong already. So I'm just thinking again, I'm really trying to think about the box. Again, like this is amazing. Like I'm putting in so much effort, but I'm going to stop talking just for a little bit. So that's probably a good thing for you. But I'm really just kind of trying to focus on seeing these three layers of projection, then trying to think about a shape that's attached to them. And once I do draw it, I'll hopefully, to the best of my ability, explain what that shape ended up becoming. Right, but let it be known, like I'm always thinking about the three layers of perspective as much as I can, literally as much as I can. If that doesn't mean it's happening all the time, but the point is like right now I'm at like a 30% consistency in terms of thinking about it, 30 to 40 maybe. It's gone a little bit up, but now it's just that center line, that damn center line, right? So we just got to think about a shape that, what would I think looks cool for that center line? Maybe we'll actually do something like this, right? Let's bring it back here actually. So I need to shift this box from here to here, and we need to see this in our mind's eye, or however the fuck we do see it, right? And let's see if it's all the way to the left. Oh, see, my pen's going to shit again. Wonderful. I fucking hate this pen, bro. Look at this. Now it's all light. Which angle is it? Which angle is actually gonna give me the fucking... There you go. Because I need it to bleed properly. There you go. Like I need it to absorb properly. See, now this is better because it's actually gonna showcase how shit my line quality actually is, right? But now, okay, so I'm thinking of something like this, and how can I make it jut out? So I can have it along this plane, go down here, then go across here, go down and then across, right? So that would be something like that, right? That's what I'm thinking about when it comes to the shape. So again, we'll do something, we're just coming across. So it's going down, then across, then down. Wait, no. Did I fuck that up? Right, again, I'm really trying to think about the angle in which this is all connected in. But if that's going this way, oh, then it's probably something more like this, right? That, and then... No, wait. See, so to make up for that now, I have to do something like this. And maybe something like that here. Well, okay, we already fucked it up, but it's like, okay, what else looks cool here, right? What could we do? Well, we could definitely go along this route. And I want like a shape attached here, right? And this is good because this is going to showcase how ineffective my lines are. And we could, right? Okay, so now I want a cylinder attached here. That I've decided on, right? So that cylinder is, if this is our box, because I lost the box in the sphere completely, but if this is our box, I want a cylinder here. If it's attached like this, we're going to bring it down. We're going to go along this plane, right? This plane. We're going to go along this plane. We're going to bring it down. So it's going to angle downwards, and then this is the box that it's encompassed in, right? This is the box. So it's something like that, right? Now we'll see if this actually works and if it makes sense, if it looks good and all, but and let's see, we'll even have something where this is jutting out. Oof, there you go. So if that's jutting out, angling this way, there you go, something like that. Now see, I've already fucked up the perspective multiple times because you see how this is foreshortening quite drastically, so we can obviously try to fix it a little bit, but it's going to be very difficult because I've already fucked up the middle part of this as well. Like, it's not attached to the middle anymore. But either way, the point is, I'm gonna what would look cool to me is that if I did something like this is coming out, something like that, right, where it's jutting out here, and we still have, because I'm trying to obviously think about what I could do for this cylinder, right? But either way, if this is jutting out here, then in perspective, if it's going back, then it's going back like so, right? And then we have something coming out like so, and there you go. I think I'm still trying to figure it all out, but I also have to think about, like, the thing is, I'm trying to find that mix between, yeah, designing and thinking about the perspective and all that shit, but also what's it called, like, what would this actually look like in real life, right? Like, what would this look like in real life, right? And okay, I see I already fucked this up too. I fucked this up completely. This is way too big, right? So now, to make up for it, I also gotta fuck this up and make this way too big, right? It's the only way. So now that's another problem to solve, because then I can just put in a tinier ellipse like so inside of that. But this is how we're slowly trying to solve problems, right? This is how we're slowly trying to solve problems, by creating mistakes. At least I'm having fun with it. I'm having genuinely a lot of fun with it. So again, what would look cool? Well, I know for sure that not for sure, nothing's ever for sure, but if we fix this perspective like that, right? Let's just say that's all designed intentionally, right? And then if I have, let's see, what do I want this to be like? Well, again, for fine linemanship, I can definitely do something like this going around, and then over here to, again, sort of recalibrate that and continue that consistency. Can have something like this going around, right? But the question is, like, how does this fit into all of this? And the answer is perhaps like so. Right? Who knows? That doesn't seem to be right to me, but we'll have to make it work for the time being. right? And let's see. See, like it's already like, look at this. Perspective is converging really fast. I genuinely fucked that up quite drastically. Quite drastically, voice crack, quite drastically, which is amazing. That's a good thing. Like this mess up, like it feels good. It genuinely feels good. But again, like what is even happening here, right? We could try something like this. And again, I'm trying to think like what it would look like in real life, but see, something like that. That looks kind of interesting, and then we just have to make sure it's relatively transferred over to the other side, right? And then same thing here. Like, should I leave this as it is? Well, we'll leave it as it is for now. I'm trying to think like what other shapes I could. Well, I could actually have a multiple rounding right here. Like so, and this will wrap around like that, right? And we can really signify that it's multiple rounded by adding these little curves, right? And maybe that will make this not seem as bad. Actually, it still kind of looks like ass. Still definitely looks like ass. And again, it's beautiful because my lines are suffering quite drastically, right? But now we get to think, what is the perspective that is being established here? So I obviously want, or not obviously, but I would like to believe I want some sort of plating. Now that's the center. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. So if I can just continue the consistency of the center, I'm gonna rest my brain. That's what I'm gonna do first, and then we're gonna get back to it. But yeah, hopefully you can see there's a lot of difficult things occurring. Right, this angle is so good. I love that it's the perspective also is already fucked, but we're just gonna have to make do with it, right? But yeah, let me be right back. I encourage you to rest your brain as well. Yeah, I think this is already going better just because I'm starting to, or trying to think what would look cool, what would look cool, right? And again, the what would look cool is being predicated by not just a lot of analysis of hard surface shapes, but also a lot of experience, right? I've clearly done hundreds of repetitions and dozens of hours towards ideating different types of large hard surface shapes. So that's something we have to keep in mind as well. So I've already fucked the perspective up. It's converging drastically here. That doesn't mean that it has to converge drastically here as well, right? Or does it? No, it doesn't. We can make it incorrect, but still try to make it work. So for this eye area, well, before I like actually do want to shut this off a little bit. I'm just trying to think, what would I think looks interesting, right? Well, what do I want to do here? Well, I like stacking. I've definitely liked the stacking design that I've seen on many, again, gotta fucking keep, there you go. Come on, let's give me some ink. There you go. Let's see, I like the stacking design motif, little fancy word, right? So let's do something like this, right? There you go. That's what's covering it like that. And then over here, that's, even if it's not as easily understood. So like again, I have trouble trying to figure out what's happening here, right? So what do I want to do? I said I like stacking, but what does that mean? I like stacking the boxes, sure, but what does that mean for this design? All right, well, if I guess for this design, that would mean something like this, right? Something like that. And if we try to think about the box that it's located inside, and the sphere that is accompanying it, right? And this way I think I can add some plating as well. I think I can add some plating. Let me just try to see if it makes sense. First, okay, so there's this, and then it's gonna be following this design, and then we'll bring this over because it's straight, sure, and then that goes that covers here, and then this is just another larger shape that is following. And I love this because it's really gonna challenge my line quality. There you go, something like that. Right, they're just stacked on top of each other, and we can add some tiny detailing that is not the best looking at all, right? But let's see, that's stacking, I guess. Same thing with there you go, we can have like a little multiple rounded stacking as well. Something like that maybe. And then this is just coming alongside, yeah. Okay, well, we definitely don't see what's happening on the other side here, but oh shit, I fucking hit the tripod. That just seems to be a commonality, or commonality, what the fuck, common occurrence when it comes to me drawing. Right, let me just move my goddamn foot away from the stand, the wheel, whatever. Okay, and then what is happening here? Can I do another stacking here of sorts that really emphasizes the perspective maybe? Maybe this is actually what is gonna happen. And this is the inside perhaps of these glasses. Something like that. And we'll just have it blend in here. That doesn't look too bad. It's not bad. I mean, this is a good, like, at the end of the day, I'm still trying to practice lines, right? all things considered, so let's see. And then this is, we're just gonna have to, also warp this, I think. Kind of like, yeah, in the perspective of what is occurring, like the actual box itself, right? Something like that. So that way it fits perfectly. Well, that I didn't really logic out too much, but I was just trying to make it make kind of a little bit of sense. Right? And then we'll just do something like this. And then this one will also, which is just me connecting it diagonally to that shape. Right? It doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look too bad at all. And I don't know. It's definitely one of, like, I think I'm slowly starting to understand my own way of being like what would look interesting to me. Right? Like here I want something small. So what I can do is maybe, again, that line was way too thick, so it's a good way of practicing lines. I'll bring this closer to here because of foreshortening, and again I have to follow this perspective now. And we'll do something like this. Right? This still, I think I fucked that up. This is too large. But either way. And then we'll have these little pipings. Right, maybe connected to this in perspective. Whether that looks decent or not, we'll just have to come down to how I interpret this and, you know, attach it, right, for this to make a little bit more sense. Again, we'll add a little outline on that, and an outline here as well. Definitely my fucking understanding's getting better. I can say that with confidence, at least. At least my understanding's getting better, right? Whether it looks good or not is a different question, but, or just a different question, but let's see. And then we want to have something that's rounding this off, right? Because this is the sphere that it's attached to. And I think I got the center line decently accurate. Nothing perfect, but definitely got the center line decently accurate. I mean, at least the fucking, like, at least the face's center line isn't as bad either, right? So let's see, we can, so we'll attach this like so, and we'll attach this little cylinder here like so. Now the main thing is, how do I want these to attach? Well, I can definitely attach these together. Right? That's not too bad. And then, how does one want this to attach? Maybe I can just create a little sphere here that's in the perspective of this, obviously this minor axis. And we'll have this slightly attached to that as well. We'll do something like that. There you go. Now, does that really make the most sense? Probably not. But I'm trying to think about sense, right? I'm trying to make sense of things that perhaps don't make the most amount of sense. And that's still making sense to me. Oh. Anyways, but this definitely looks like it has a lot more intent, which I'm very happy about, right? And then over here, we had got to think about a way to sort of finish this ellipse off, right? So this is still the bottom perspective, even though it's extremely converged on this side, right? It's extremely converged. This is, just for the sake of me not wanting to converge it, I got to think about like, okay, well, how can I still make sense of it all? Right, like in the sense of like, how can I connect this and it still looks like we're looking at it from the bottom, even if it doesn't seem that way. And that comes down to, hopefully, let's see. Well, I guess technically we can think about the fact that we're seeing it from the bottom because we are seeing the bottom of this thing's perspective, right? Like I guess it's hard to explain now. I guess I'm more advanced to the point where it's harder for me to verbalize it, but what I'm trying to say is, it looks like it's from the bottom because clearly when just you look at this eye line as well as how this is positioned, it's just intuitively clear that we're looking at the bottom plane of something. Now, for me to try to explain why it still feels that way when, even though this convergence is drastic, it might be because as long as I maintain this to be accurate, right, even if this one's like converged extremely, right, like if it's like this is the top part, this is the bottom part, which is basically what it is. As long as I indicate something here that's still following this general convergence, right, even though this box is converging drastically, right, on this side right here, this side right here, I'm thinking that, yeah, just indicating something that's still following this would make things a bit easier. So let's start with something like, there you go. And I do like this sort of simple design, right? For this. So, and then we're seeing the bottom of this, obviously, right? We are seeing the bottom. So, and I already fucked up the perspective a little bit, but we are seeing the bottom of this. So that just comes down to my lines being relatively clean. And we can create some sort of little hole to be like, hey, look, it is the bottom. It is like some sort of mechanical design, right? And now I got to think about some plating that's occurring here, right? That's still attached to the sphere. Again, like the sphere's been heavily manipulated now. The sphere's obviously been heavily manipulated, but if I can just create something that's, let's see, because if this is a sphere on the back, it's obviously a sphere on this side too. And I'm just trying to think in terms of like, I guess design. What would I think looks cool here? Oh yeah, what would I think that looks cool here? Of course, I still think over here I could have done more. Maybe this can be closed off, right? Or maybe that just doesn't look that good. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, that's not the best design. There you go. Maybe that makes a bit more sense for the connection over there. This is still pretty jumbled, but I like that there's still a decent amount of clarity that I'm working towards now, right? So with that as the foundation with the sphere, I just got to think about something that's kind of working around it. So we got this shape, and clearly this shape, you should see the bottom of it a little bit, I'd like to think, right? Just a little bit. And how do I want things to be connecting to that shape, right? I'm trying to think, because I feel as if like I can definitely do something that's not that indicates the spherical nature, while still respecting all the other additions that I've made thus far. Right, so what could be done here? What could be done here to respect that sphere? Because otherwise it won't really make much sense. I'm trying to think. If we have something jut out, because again, if I just do a sphere here like that, it won't really make sense, I don't think. So okay, maybe I'll just wrap something around here. Like that, right? And then this will come across. Something like that, maybe? No, I don't think that works. I don't think that works. Yeah, that doesn't work, because that's too much of a curve. Way too much of a curve. Right, but it is wrapped around, which is nice. I guess that looks decent enough. Well, if that's the case and it doesn't work, we should just add little, I guess little cutouts. Still a nice way for me to practice my lines, clearly. Right, and then again, in perspective, we'll add little bolts, I guess. Right. It's alright. It's alright. I'm still fucking things up. But either way, let's, there you go. And we'll just add that, because I don't know what the fuck that was supposed to be. But we'll just add little designs. Okay, either way, let me rest my brain. That doesn't look too bad. A little over-designed for sure, and I definitely lost the sphere. This was supposed to encompass the sphere, but that went to shit as well. But either way, okay, let me rest my brain. Let me put the fucking 30th rep, right? And yeah, keep trying to problem solve. Again, I really like this mindset I have now when it just comes to trying to, what would look cool to me? Let's try to make things make sense. Let's try to make sure everything still connects, right? But again, like you'll see, I do a lot of this, the cylinder shit. So I want to break out, and I want to try to think about larger shapes, right? But at the very least, what you need to understand is like a lot of these shapes, the designs come from things I observe in terms of like online, just, or maybe in real life, just in terms of like, okay, like I try to look at cars as well, be like, they have grill marks and they're designed like this, even inside my car, like the door handles like this, like just general hard surface concepts. I try to. That doesn't mean I do it all the time, but like at least sparingly here and there I try to. Plus sheer ideation and experimentation. As if you go back to my channel, all the fundamentals practice, right? 40 to 60, the multiple rounding, the cute bots workouts, and now this with the portrait. It's all leading up to this, right? So it's just sheer ideation of shapes on top of the foundation, which is the box, the sphere inside the box, and the center lines inside the sphere inside the box. But this thing's perspective is still pretty off. Like, it's a little bit better, but definitely it's more like this, right? Like this is the box that this is encompassed in, you know, and obviously like with extreme convergence, and this with trying not to converge that. Oh, actually, I didn't even show how extreme that was. It's more like this, like extreme convergence, yeah. See, but that's basically the box this is in, and the center line, it's not bad. Like it feels as if the box stops here and the center line's here, but you can see that that's still not as accurate as that one. But slowly but surely, I'm gonna get it down, right? But yeah, anyways, let me rest my brain. And I encourage you to do so as well. And I'll be completely honest, like when I get into the details or trying to ideate the shapes on top of the sphere, you know, on top of the sphere that's inside the box with the center lines, right? I'll be completely fucking honest and say that I only see that maybe 20-30% time max. Like I basically lose it very, very much so once we get into like the actual shapes trying to be understood. But I still try, which is all that matters, right? Like I still try. You know, but anyways, let's go back to trying to understand this individual, right? And the orientation of her face, right? So again, I'm trying to project a box. There you go. That's the size of the box I should be thinking in. I'm trying to project a box onto that face. And I'm really focusing on trying to understand this box, right? So that's a huge part of all of this, is just trying to understand. And I still want to keep reiterating the main thing, which is you're trying, right? The success comes from multiple attempts of trying, and there's maybe one success in every 20 to 30 attempts, right? Like the amount of hundreds of attempts, the micro attempts that have occurred while I did this, it's you wouldn't even be able to believe how many times I've failed. But I'd like to think that you would believe how many times I've failed, because I'm putting it all out on the internet, right? I'm not shying away from showing the reality of failure when it comes to learning, right? Which is the reality of life, is the failures. So you're welcome. Please give me money. Anyways, see, okay, so like this angle, this was definitely more accurate. So I consistently lose it. You know, I get it and then I don't get it, and then I get it and then I don't get it, right? But that's a good thing. And I feel good knowing that I'm trying, right? Like I genuinely feel good knowing that I'm trying. Let's see. Just trying to see what the angle is, right? It's basically like, yeah, it is definitely closer to this, actually, maybe. You see how I said it's closer to this, actually, maybe? Which means I don't understand, right? Like, I'm still figuring it out. And I'm really trying to see that sphere while I figure this out. And again, there's, no matter where you are, thinking and then applying while thinking is always going to be extremely difficult. It's just what you're thinking about will change. Right now, what I'm thinking about is this. Is this level of the box, the sphere inside the box, the center lines inside the sphere inside the box. And then X amount of years from now, it'll be much more complicated, but the effort I put towards thinking will never change. Again, I put the same amount of effort towards thinking about the lines that I was drawing as I am about the shapes that I'm trying to visualize, right? And the complicated, like this takes the same, this right now, is taking the same amount of effort, the same amount, right? Not the same, not like the output, but the same input. Like it's the same amount of effort. It's simply on a different topic, and it's more complex because I've already put in the fucking thousands of repetitions towards thinking about the line. And even then, I'm always thinking about the line. Like these are all really beautiful mistakes that I'm making, right? Like really beautiful mistakes, because I'm still drawing pretty horrendous lines, right? They may look clean to you, but that's because your standards aren't as high as mine. Which is my standards are Peter Han lines, Karl Kopinski lines, Kim Jong-il lines, right? Broken draw lines, Tyrion Holtet lines, right? Like those are my standards. So I feel good when I keep making these mistakes, because that means I can keep raising my standards and keep trying to meet them. Again, trying being the operative word, right? And then while I'm speaking, that was a huge mistake. Completely fucked up the angle of that eyebrow. But again, like while I'm making these mistakes, and while I'm talking, sorry, I'm also like going back and forth between looking at the reference, right? But while I'm talking, I am thinking, I'm drawing. It's extremely difficult to do that, right? So never discount how difficult things are, but that is why they're worth doing. Like it's worth me constantly fucking failing miserably, right? And I don't mean that, like I don't use that in a negative way, right? That's just me being facetious. But yeah, I am failing miserably. I'm genuinely failing. God, her nose is not that fucking, her nostrils are not that flared. Jesus Christ. Or maybe they are, who knows? But it's the attempt, and this is a much better cube. But you see like how I can actually create a perfect, better cube in perspective when it comes to a less harsh angle, right? And then put a perfect sphere inside of it with the center lines than I can with this angle. So clearly, like again, like this needs to be that cut off. That's already better. That's like already 99% better, right? But yeah, I am constantly making the attempt to think, right? Constantly making the attempt to visualize, constantly making the attempt to understand. And that's really all we can do, is consistently attempt and like keep refocusing our minds to be like, oh no, wait, think about the line. Oh no, wait, think about the perspective. Oh no, wait, try to really, really, really visualize it. Oh no, wait, your brain's hurting. Okay, oh no, wait, calculate the center lines, right? It's a constant effort. But that constant effort is what has made, I'm objectively, compared to 2 months ago or like a month ago, yeah, a month and a half ago when I started doing this, I'm objectively able to see that box, sphere, and center lines like much easier. Like it doesn't take as much thinking, but I'm still really pushing it and trying to think about it as much as I can, right? But it's hard to explain. Like it's just so much more intuitive. Why? Because I consistently put a fuck ton of effort towards making it intuitive, right? Like the effort is what results in intuition. Okay, so that's what you need to. What the fuck are her lips? Her lips are so fucking confusing. So, and again, her lips are confusing right now because I don't understand the form, right? Like I don't understand the perspective and the forms that her lip actually is. But I will. Like that's just a matter of fact, right? I will understand it. It'll just take the main thing, which is time, right? So yeah, I'm pretty sure there's something off. Like I'm still getting quite a bit off about the perspective. Well, first of all, her nose is way too big now that I look at it. But it's already been 46 minutes. Okay, whatever. We'll do the helmet. We'll do the hard surface design. Still try to understand that. But this is good. Like this is not bad. Obviously, the other one was I think slightly better, but this is still pretty decent. I feel as if it's in between this and this maybe, but how far away or how tilted away the front of this face is much more accurate than this, right? But hey, you can see like I fit a sphere that was inside of this and not inside of that. So at least my ability to visualize the sphere inside of a larger box is getting better, right? But again, like this was fine and all, but now that I have to actually A, ignore the perspective, B, project this onto the page, C, put a sphere inside of it, D, put center lines, vertical and horizontal inside the sphere, inside the perspective, whole different game. And that's just the first step, which is just visualize it, you piece of shit, right? To the best of your ability, you know? Just visualize it. And now the second step is, okay, now try to come up with something interesting. Try to come up with something different, for the love of Christ, right? So let's try to come up with... See, I just lost the perspective again. I just completely lost the perspective, but I'm consistently trying to bring it back. This feels amazing. Like, I already feel better, because I don't have expectations. My only expectation is to really try, and to keep trying, right? That's my only expectation. I used to, like, for the last few months, few dozen videos for anybody who's listening, I was very harsh on myself when it came to like not even trying as hard as I thought I should try. But right now all that matters, and I've like sort of taken a step back and be like, just try. Yeah, try as hard as you can, but don't judge what that hard as you can actually is. Like, yeah, you can keep pushing further. That's a fact. And again, while I'm talking, I'm thinking about the box, the sphere inside the box, and the center lines inside the sphere inside the box, right? And I consistently lose the center lines inside the sphere inside the box. But yeah, the main thing now is just like whatever you're trying is, just keep fucking leaning into that. Keep leaning into the discomfort. Keep leaning into this, and it feels beautiful. It genuinely feels beautiful. But now it's less about beauty and more about, okay, well, now you have to figure out the center line, you piece of shit. Now you really have to figure out the center line, right? And that's what we're gonna try to do. That's what we're gonna try to do. Right, because the center line is definitely way more advanced, or not advanced. Yeah, the center line is technically a decent amount more advanced, but less than that. The center line is also... Ooh, maybe I'll do something like this, actually. Oh, I just got an idea. Let's see how it goes. Right, this is actually going back. This isn't following the perspective. It was gonna follow the perspective, but then I fucked it up, so it's not gonna follow the perspective anymore. So how does that look like on this side? Right, we will, how do I want this to look? See, I already fucked a few things up here, but we just got to keep moving forward. Hashtag meet the Robinsons, right? But that's already way too far away, so we should do something else. Like, I already fucked the perspective up quite drastically, but I do want to ensure that it's more towards the middle. You know what, we'll do something like this. There you go. Okay, that's a little bit better. That's definitely a little bit better, right? Still trying to think about the perspective a decent amount, but this is okay. Right now what I'm thinking about is like a general shape that's sticking out from the front plane, right? Like a general shape. And then now I'm obviously trying to think about any manipulations that can occur within it. But more than that, I'm also trying to think in terms of, let's see, well, we can do something like this, can't we? Because again, like, yeah, it's jutting out, but it's still spherical in nature, right? So that's something else that I'm trying to think about. So we can maybe do something like this. And if that's coming out this way, then can actually think about the sphere and round it off like that, right? Like this one is not really rounded properly, but it's okay. Now this line, again, my fucking pen, there you go. This line is hopefully a little bit better. Still shit, still pissing me off. I really just need the pen to work properly, but it's okay. And now we got this, and let's see, what else can we do that's, because the sphere, like I lose the sphere a lot when I do this, by the way. Like when I get to this point, I lose the sphere quite a bit. So I have to remember that it is, for better or for worse, there are points where it's still going along a spherical shape, right? And I have to keep that in mind. But now I'm trying to think, like, we can do something like, there you go, something like that, right? I don't know if that's good. Actually, don't know if that looks even cool to me, but let's see. I was trying to think of something. See, those lines went to shit. But I'm just trying to think what would look interesting. Let's see. Something like that. Maybe like a jut out like that. Right? Oh, my head keeps tapping the fucking... let's see, the tripod, but okay, we'll bring it here. Okay, so I need to think about obviously like what the other side's gonna look like. So that requires a lot of thought. And I'm still trying to keep the box, the sphere inside the box, and the center lines inside the sphere, inside the box in mind, obviously, right? But these need to, okay, well, I'll do something like this first. So that way we can close this off, right? And maybe I can actually just do something like this to there you go. Didn't even mean for it to turn out like that, but it's okay. See, that line is a horrendous line, and that's exactly what I wanted, because now that means I have room for improvement. Now this can hopefully, oh, see, that was a much better line. There you go, and then this is now curving into that. Okay, that's a little bit better in terms of the perspective and what is being done. I still got to think about how this is going to jut out and make sense, right? While also keeping these calculations in mind. Yeah, it's like, okay, what would look cool to me? Right, that's really just all it is right now. Like, what would I think looks cool? You know, and if it looks cool, it looks cool. If it doesn't look cool, then at least I tried to do something that I thought would look cool based on, you know, just the sheer ideation that I've tried to do consistently. If that's like that, then if that's jutting out, then okay, so what angle? I need to figure out what angle I want this to be in as well. Like, how is it jutting out? Right? Is it something like this? It might be something like that. There you go. See, that might be a little bit better. And we could even do, because we're obviously going to establish this in a different perspective, so we'll just do something like this. Okay, that line, there you go, that's a bit better. Just like a general robot screw. And the thing is, I want my lines to be shit, as you can see, by the way. Like, I want them to be, like, I want to be tested on my lines. Like, I don't want this just to be like a, like, oh, the pen isn't absorb, like the paper isn't absorbing the ink because the pen isn't flowing ink properly. Like, that's just annoying to me, right? So let's have this go over here. This is definitely a different type of design than what I usually can think of. Now, I think I messed something up here. Or maybe this just needs to be a little bit higher. Yeah, that needs to be a little bit higher, and then we can hopefully, let's see. What was an interesting, well, I can do something like this, right? And then we'll bring it all the way back. And we can do the same thing here. Yeah, see, so we're not going to see that side. That's good. See, I'm like, my brain really wants to lean my head. My head really wants to tilt while I'm doing this, but we're not going to do that. But this is definitely way more unique than I expected it to be, which is cool. Right? And now, let's see, how can this connect? See, that line was unconfident, so it's what it is, right? It was just an unconfident line. And to add some interesting flair, we can create a manipulation like that, right? Where like this is actually going inwards. Something like this. And maybe there's a line that is making that occur. And I will actually do something like this. We will have it cut out over here. Whether that's going to look good or not is uncertain, but it's a great way for me, again, to practice my lines. Right? And we can have a little sphere. There you go, or cylinder attached in the middle. Whether that looks like a cylinder or not, probably doesn't, because again, the lines are ass. It's okay, because that's what we're trying to do, is like we're just trying to make things, occur. So I'm gonna rest my brain. That was extremely difficult to do. I'm gonna rest my brain, we're gonna come back, we're gonna try to see the sphere properly again, and the center lines properly again inside of this, but slowly but surely, at least it's getting better in terms of the foreshortening. It's nowhere near as drastic as that, right? But that's just practice. That's just practice and consistency. But I will be back in about 15 seconds because I'm going to rest my brain. I encourage you to do so as well. All right, cool. So let's try to make this a large shape, right? Well, first, I can definitely, I think, because that's going out that way, we can definitely bring this inwards like so, right? Like this shape. There you go. Because now it's going to follow this, right? So we can definitely bring this shape inwards. We can even add a little bit information here to showcase that it's actually projecting, like it's stuck in there. This kind of looks like a frog right now. I'm well aware it kind of looks like a frog right now. But you know what? It's an interesting design, and I'm not going to take away from that, right? But I want to add like a big shape. So let's see. I want to add a sphere, or a cylinder, right? And I want it to, yeah, I want it to do something like this, right? So let's try to calculate this appropriately. You know, whether I've done that right now or not is only going to be seen. And then we will reinforce the perspective that we already have, right? And again, these lines, see, this is what I love, like these horrendous lines. I live for this shit because that means I have room for improvement. And you can see, like, my lines aren't that confident. I'm genuinely, look at that shit. I'm genuinely not that confident, but I'm trying, right? I'm trying, aren't I? And then we will do something like this. Try to make some sort of interesting, or at least, yeah, like what I find to be interesting, right? Like that is the key difference. Like, what do I find to be interesting? And what I find to be interesting is only going to evolve based on already the things I just look at and try to find interesting, right? If that makes sense. Like, I'm only getting the things I'm drawing, the shapes I'm drawing are only getting to the point where I quote unquote find them interesting, or where they start to look decent, and I find them interesting as well because I've done work on just constantly trying to pay attention to interesting shapes, or just like things that I look at a hard surface, or whatever the fuck, right? Like, if that makes sense. So it's all practice, observation, repetition, and then the intuition I'm now starting to realize is just really trying to take into account what is just like kind of letting what you find interesting to be allowed to flow, if that makes sense. Right? Flow in the sense that, like, you still think as often as you can, but you allow yourself the reprieve, right? The reprieve to let intuition take place, in the sense that it's being predicated by all the effort that you put towards the knowledge that you had, right? Like the practice that you did for this moment. Fuck, man, I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know if this makes sense. It's hard to fucking think while I'm drawing as well, as I always keep saying, right? But let's do something like, see, like this line is so unconfident, right? And actually the perspective's a bit off for sure. Perspective is definitely a bit off for sure. And then we will right? Something like this. I didn't even think of that until now, by the way, but it's not bad. Not a bad thought at all. I love this. I love that my lines are so shit. There you go. Right. This is obviously even thinner. This is just essentially like, I'm basically just wrapping a little helmet around this to keep the sphere in place, because like the sphere is still here, right? So, but again, like we have the liberty to bend that. So that's going, so what I did is like, if the angle this is in is we're going up, and then we're going all the way back here, and then we're going to the side. So we're going up all the way to, like we're going up this plane, right? This plane. Then we're going to the right of this, like along this plane, and then we're going slightly back. And that is causing this angle. Or whatever the fuck I did here, like that angle. Like, yeah, like up, right? Then to the right, and then to align it. Up, and across this plane, and then align it. So here, again, we're gonna do up, right? Then across this plane, and then to align it. So yeah, it'll be something like this, right? And I can even maybe add a little like stacking on top of it, or even not stacking, but just kind of, there you go, some sort of like jutting out thing, right? And this can be in perspective as well. Ta-da! See, like some sort of cylinder to be like, hey, look, we're still in perspective. Look at us, right? Although this probably isn't as accurate, like what I did to this jutting out. And now I gotta think about, well, this is obviously a hat that is supposed to be following the sphere, so we'll just, I don't know if this is gonna make much sense, actually. I don't think that makes much sense. I don't think I should have done that, actually, at all. But, like, and how do I want this to, okay, like, I guess I'm going to say that this is curved, so this will obviously be curved as well. This really does look like some weird frog-like thing that's connected. And here we can even make it so like, oh, this is also its own little thing. Right, I'm still trying to figure out the shape design of this all, but at least I'm starting to, oh, it's already been over an hour. At least I'm starting to understand kind of how things can be, if that makes sense. Right, now we just need to perhaps have a sphere here that is connected, something like that. So it's like that on both sides. And then what do I want? I said I wanted like a giant cylinder here, right? So, and obviously it's gonna be relatively manipulated, so I got to think about the box. So it's gonna be something like this. Yeah, I gotta think about the box inside of it. And then, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of a manipulation, but I'm trying to think what I can do with this before I just connect it. So I could do something like this. This is very basic, by the way. This is super basic. I'm just adding multiple rounding to this, right? And then, let's see, I'm kind of losing the perspective here. So this is the hard part, right? Why don't we do actually something like this? Right, where it's connected like so, and then it's jutting out on both ends. Oh, see, that's a fuck up. So I now have to make sure that this also juts out like that. I think this is a huge fuck up in general, but maybe now I can have, yeah, I've definitely fucked this up. Okay, so that's this. See, this shape went to shit. There's no clarity here, and I wasn't thinking, and I didn't take my time to think, which is another important factor is the fact that you got to take your time to think. Otherwise, things like this will occur, right? I didn't take my time to think. And I'm having, like, this is the tail end of my practice, right? So I'm having a really difficult time thinking in general. So I hope this is helpful in that sense to know that, hey, like, it's still very difficult to think. It's still very, very difficult to try to figure these things out, right? And, okay, I guess for the helmet, because this is supposed to be the sphere, and I did lose it quite a bit, but again, we can just do something like this, like little grill marks. And actually, I think I'll do something like this. And I love that my lines are really ass right now, because it's gonna obviously make me want to get better. Right, we'll do something like that. And it's actually off perspective, so that's good too, because then I can kind of work on this. But generally, this is kind of what I wanted to do. Like, oh look, we'll have little grill marks that follow the perspective of the right side of the plane. Didn't happen that way, of course, but it's not bad. Let's see. It's hard. It's very hard. There you go. Maybe just something like this. Right? So nothing's really making sense. Not at the bottom here. Nothing's connected properly. So let's try to make it connect. Right? This is also supposed to be like a little connection over there, right? Like it's a plating on top of something. Maybe this line and this line will actually help. Yeah, it does set the perspective a little bit better, right? This is obviously like went to shit. I don't know what I did here. We can just, this is just mumbo jumbo, right? Like objectively, that's just bad because I wasn't thinking properly, and I need to practice. So I'd like to think. I say this all the time, but I actually think the main thing is if my cylinder designs are lacking, then it's probably best to at least try to figure out a good way to make them, like this can be like a little grating that's sticking out. There you go, that's already a little bit better. But to like make them make a little bit more sense, right? Or to give them some uniqueness. I think that should help. But hey, this is all just me. These designs are already 10 times better than anything I've done. Like yesterday's video, and like the previous video and this one in terms of design, like they're already so much better. And hey, foreshortenings is okay. It's not bad. It's getting slightly better. This is still nowhere near as good, or nowhere near as accurate as this, I think. Or it's not as accurate as I would like it to be. But hold up, we could maybe to just add to this design language, right? So now maybe this kind of looks like it's actually in line with this, right? I don't know. This cylinder in of itself that I did here is pretty fucking subpar, but it's okay. There you go. I don't know, some random fucking shitty design. Ta-da! Just leave it. But hey, not bad, not bad. I will take it up the bumhole. It's not bad at all. And I think I'm slowly getting better at trying to understand keeping the box, keeping the sphere, right? The center lines, the horizontal center lines, the vertical center lines, right? Designing over it, right? Not being constricted by the sphere, but allowing the sphere to still shape specific parts of the design, which is still important. And I think that's actually not that bad. So yeah, and the lines are, you know, shit in many places, decent in other places, good in some places. But yeah, that was really good. That was fucking great. I put a lot of effort in, and that was really fucking fun. So with all that unnecessary swearing aside, as always, I hope you put a lot of effort in. I hope you really just did your best and really tried, because I sure did, and I'm slowly starting to understand how to ideate and like have my own unique voice, right? So here, we'll even to really solidify the perspective, let's just do something like this. Right, and this is where good men go to die. There you go. There's some sort of little like screw-like attachment. There you go. Kind of fucked it up a little bit, but there you go. Right, it's not bad. It actually doesn't. It isn't following. It's fuck. I didn't form blend it. properly. It should have been more. Yeah, that actually, there you go. I fixed it a little bit. It's already a little better. Yeah, it's a little bit better. And then on the other side, if we go all the way back over there, there should be a little bit, just a little bit jutting out. There you go. Actually, is that even accurate? That isn't accurate. Fuck. That's not accurate either. Fuck it. I love how I always fuck it up at the end. It was so much better with that empty space. But for some part of me just wanted to add some bullshit there. Now it's harder to understand. But that's just the Viggy way, right? Just fucking always fucking up the drawing. So let's just pretend like it's what it looked like before I did that. But either way, as always, fuck you for watching. Keep drawing, and please give me money.